Hello, my name is Paul Morawski, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Global Licensing at Yale University. Today, I'll have the opportunity to speak to you about the Yale Licensing Program and how it has helped expand the Yale brand from a US brand to now a globally recognized brand. But before I do that, I'd like to take a moment and thank the management team at Licensing Expo India for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you today. Once I've completed my presentation, and if you'd like to learn more about Yale and possible licensing opportunities, myself and our Assistant Director, Leanne Minutoli, will be at the Yale virtual booth during the India Licensing Show, and we look forward to answering any of your questions and look forward to meeting you. Now, if you just give me a moment, I'll transfer over the screen and I can take you through our presentation today. Yale University was founded in 1701. We're one of 8 Ivy League institutions, the 4th oldest college in the United States. And Yale's famous for graduating 5 US presidents, hundreds of members of US Congress, US cabinet members, and also Nobel laureates. Yale is located in New Haven, Connecticut, and that's midway between Boston and New York City. The Yale campus comprises 340 acres and over 260 buildings. The Yale mission is that we are committed to improving the world today and for future generations. And this is through outstanding research, scholarship, education, preservation, and practice. And Yale licensing and Yale licensed merchandise plays an important role in that mission because it serves to help promote Yale throughout the globe. Now, I thought I'd take a minute and show you some of what the Yale campus looks like. Here you see an aerial view of Central Campus. In the middle of the image, you see the world-famous Harkness Tower. Some of our buildings on campus date back hundreds of years. For example, Wolseley Hall on the right, that dates back to the early 1900s. And in sharp contrast to that is the Kroon Hall and Klein Biology Tower, which is a brand new building just recently put up. Yale also has 2 world-famous libraries, the Sterling Memorial Library and the Beinecke Library of Rare Books. Yale is a large global institution with many, many members. To give you an idea of that, here are some specifics. There are almost 6,000 undergraduate students at Yale, almost 7,500 graduate students. Our students come from 118 countries and all 50 US states. There are over 4,700 faculty members at Yale, over 10,000 staff members, of which I'm a part. We have over 169,000 alumni worldwide. And our libraries have 15 million holdings. Now, athletics at Yale plays a very important role, especially in Yale licensing. We have over 35 varsity athletic teams, including baseball, basketball, crew, American football, golf. There have been many famous people who have played sports at Yale. On the left here, you see former President George Bush, who was captain of the Yale baseball team back in 1948. The center of athletics at Yale is the Yale Bowl. It opened in 1914. It is a US landmark. It holds over 70,000 people. But most famously, every 2 years, it holds what we call the Game. And that is the oldest college football rivalry, which dates back to 1875 between Yale and our friends in Boston, Harvard. Yale's mascot is the Bulldog, and there have been 18 of them. And he's called Handsome Dan. Handsome Dan dates back to 1889. He is the first mascot ever in the United States. You can see here the original one on the left. You can see also the present day one, which now prowls the sidelines at Yale football games, Yale baseball games, and other athletic events. We call him Handsome Dan, and he's the 18th, but his real name is Walter. Now, the interesting part is that Handsome Dan is also a logo image that can be used by our licensing partners. Also, we have found that's become very popular, especially in some of the Asian markets that we work in now. Now, I'd like to speak a little bit about the Yale brand itself. The Yale brand comprises an array of images, identities, histories, ideals, all around the promise of excellence. We believe the licensing partners we work with are the best of the best, and we believe the product we offer is also the best. You can see here an array of what is available and the types of product categories that can be licensed. Anything from many different forms of apparel, to accessories, to note cards, to stationery products. And what about the Yale marks and logos? Well, that also has a wide library. Here is the most famous. This is the Yale University logo and what we call our institutional mark. If you come on campus, this is the mark that you'll see all over campus with the names of the Yale buildings on it. Most popular, though, is what we call the block Yale, and you'll see that in a lot of Yale apparel. Also, here are two of the Yale shields that are available. The Y, which is on our football helmet. There's also Yale Bulldogs, of course, Yale University. But most interesting, we're finding that the vintage logos are becoming much, much more important. For example, here you can see on the left the image of the bulldog with the golf club. That's actually the logo for the Yale golf course. And that dates back to 1926. Of course, established 1701 is when Yale opened. On the right is the leaning bulldog, which dates back to the 1950s. And of course, Yale University in script font. Now, a little bit about Yale licensing. The business breaks down, as you would expect, very heavily weighted towards apparel, about 70% of our overall royalties, non-apparel 25%, and accessories about 5%. Now, if you drill down a little further, you'll see that 69% of our apparel business comes out in men's, but that also includes unisex products. Women's 24%, youth is 6%, and we also do a little bit of business in infant and toddler. Now, I'd like to take you through the Yale Licensing Program in the United States and give you a little flavor for that. We have over 160 domestic licenses here in the States. Some of the most famous that you recognize here are Under Armour, Vineyard Vines, Nike, 47 brand, one of our newest licensing partners, Lululemon, and our largest licensing partner, which is Champion. Now, until probably 3 or 4 years ago, the vast majority of Yale product in the United States was sold at the Yale bookstore in New Haven, which does happen to be one of the 10 largest bookstores here. The brand, though, has now grown nationwide. You'll find it in Neiman Marcus, PacSun, on Fanatics website, Dick's Sporting Goods, and this will be the 3rd year we have a program with Forever 21. Here's the program in 2019 that PacSun did, working with our partner Champion. In 2019, we expanded the Vineyard Vines program to include dress shirts. Their assortment also includes long sleeve t-shirts, headwear, outerwear, and accessories. As I said, Forever 21 in 2020 will be our 3rd year with them. And this is an example of what we did last year. These products were produced through our licensing partner in California, Hybrid Gem. And in 2020, we launched Lululemon. We were the first university in America to do that, and there are only a handful that have the license agreement right now. We're very proud of that partnership, and if you walk around campus, you'll see a lot of Lululemon apparel. Now, what does the Yale brand look like at retail? What does it look like in our stores? How is it perceived by the customer? Well, as you know, the Yale bookstore is located in New Haven, Connecticut. It is operated and licensed through Barnes & Noble. And Barnes & Noble represents bookstores for over 400 universities in the United States. Because of the size and interest in the Yale brand, we have been in the top 10 for several years now with Barnes & Noble from a volume perspective. And apparel, as mentioned earlier, is huge for Yale. And in the Barnes & Noble store represents over half of the non-book sales. And this gives you a little bit of an idea of the breadth and scope that the Yale brand can represent, from zip tops to traditional fleece to t-shirts. It's a wide-ranging brand with many applications. You'll see here that we have what we would call a power wall of Yale hats. And the reason we do that is very interesting, because we learned that in the US market, the Yale customer, for every 2 pieces of apparel he or she purchases, they will also buy 1 head one hat, making it one of the fastest trending categories within our assortment. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about Yale licensing around the world. In 2017, we completely restructured our global strategy because we wanted to grow the brand in many ways in many different territories. So we've taken on 7 new agent partners, the most recent being Alibaba in Shanghai, which will represent us in China. We work with Max Marketing in Hong Kong, Seoul Merchandise Company in Korea, UNI Diversified in Tokyo, which covers Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia. Our largest agent partner, though, is CPLG, located in London. They work with us in Europe, the Middle East, Russia, and most recently have just expanded into the US market. Crea Licensing, which is located right outside of New York, manages Turkey. They have an office in Mumbai and also there in South Africa. And of course, Warrington Management, which is located in Canada. The Yale International Licensing Strategy is really a best, fashion-forward, and good strategy. We work with some world-renowned brands to create the umbrella for Yale, such as with Calvin Klein. However, for fast fashion, it's very important that Yale be part of that because of the size and scope of fast fashion markets. In addition, we want to also be able to offer Yale for every man, and that's why we work with opening price point partners such as Primark in London. And I'd like to take you now through some recent Yale global programs. In 2018, we did a global program with Zara, which focused on men's fleece and t-shirts. We did this through our licensing partner, Universal, who is located in Barcelona, Spain. As I mentioned earlier, we had a program with Calvin Klein that we ran in 2018 and 2019, where we did in conjunction with the University of California at Berkeley. This was such an important launch that Calvin Klein actually featured this program at the Milan Fashion Show in July of 2018, and we were also featured in Vogue. In 2020, we began working with H&M on a global basis, and it's been a very successful program. It'll continue for the balance of 2020 and into 2021. In addition to Yale being a leader in licensing, we're also a leader in social compliance, which is very important to us. We work with all our partners to ensure they are at the highest level of social compliance. To help us with this, we require all licensing partners to be either members of the Fair Labor Association or the Ethical Trade Initiative and follow the guidelines of those 2 organizations. Additionally, all licensing partners, in order to them to adhere to the highest quality standards, we also require them to carry liability insurance for any products that carry the Yale name. Now, what does a Yale licensing program offer? We are an evergreen, coveted brand, and we are recognized around the globe. We have a very wide range of intellectual properties and applications that can be used on many different product types. We have local territorial representation so we can quickly meet the needs of each licensee. And the management team in New Haven, Connecticut is very engaged. We're pleased that we actually turn around licensing and apparel approvals in as little as 2 days. We're committed to the success of the brands that we work with by offering individualized attention, not only to the agents, but also directly to the licensees. And I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope you found this interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to learn more about becoming a Yale licensing partner, please reach out to us at our virtual licensing booth here in India. I'd like to thank you again for your time and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.